Good morning, listeners. It happens to be morning where we are. We don't know where it is with you are, but this is Old Buck Dell.
And this is Old Buck Dave.
Saying, how's everybody doing out there? And thanks for tuning in. So, Dave.
So, yeah, we got another action-packed episode here for everybody.
Hold on tight.
Hold on tight.
Pretend you're in the front car of the roller coaster.
There we go.
And grab onto the rail because
right.
We're going to keep you awake.
So we talked several episodes ago about what name should we call female listeners. And
wait a minute. You mean what name is equivalent to a old buck analogy?
What would female listeners like to be called?
If they
equivalent to an old buck.
Right. Okay.
Because they're not old bucks. They're something else. Okay.
So what do you got? What did you get?
So we had it was pretty strong voting, and it was close for up until the very end, and then there was a rash of votes that came in for one name. So I don't know if there are any polling irregularities involved or not. We're not going to get down that road. We're going to assume that this is all legit. I'm proud to announce that the winning name for a female listener is Vixen.
You don't have to put the word old in front of it, I assume.
I wouldn't do that. No. Actually, one of our listeners from Canada suggested Vintage Vixen.
Vintage Vixen. Okay,
and that's kind of a nice. That has a nice ring to it.
And that issue is settled. The Vintage Vixens.
So welcome to all the Vixens and Vintage Vixens out there.
From the Old Bucks.
From the Old Bucks. And you know, we talked last episode, I guess, about how once again we're ahead of the curve. We did a story on cicadas, and now you find the networks are all tripping over each other doing cicada stories. I think I figured it out. What's happening?
They're listening to
I
two Old
figured
Bucks.
it out. So we've got some listeners in Manhattan, and I'm thinking, boy, who in Manhattan is downloading and listening to the Old Bucks every week?
Yeah, well, we do talk. In the morning we discuss all these issues, all these pertinent issues, and then a few weeks later we see it on national news. It makes us wonder.
I'm pretty sure it's the networks. I think we are unwitting, unpaid stringers for the networks.
Somebody in Times Square has tuned in.
Somebody's listening to the Bucks and running with it.
So what you were talking about? We were talking about what was the other day? We were talking about somebody that does voiceovers for parties. What did we call that?
You mean on Cameo?
Cameo. Oh, geez. Yeah. So we were talking about that, and that showed up.
There it was.
And we mentioned the cicadas, and that showed up.
Lanternflies.
Lanternflies. Yep. So what else was on there that you recall that we mentioned?
Well, I was astounded. I saw a TV ad the other day for none other than Duke's mayonnaise.
Duke's mayonnaise.
I'm pretty sure that you introduced Duke's to the world here.
No,
you were first.
No. Actually, there was a survey in one of the food. It was a food article somewhere, and they were doing what the best mayonnaise things, and Duke's were listed in the top 5. But how they clarified that was they said Duke's has a very strong following. It was one of those.
It's a loyal following.
Yeah, loyal.
It's small but loyal.
A loyal
like
following,
the Buck
right?
listeners.
That people just like this mayonnaise. I happen to like it myself. I choose it if I can. But again, we were. I don't know if we were ahead of the curve there, but we did mention it, and the commercial for it recently I thought was outstanding.
Yeah, I was like, wow, Dale is.
A couple of listeners out there may want to try it.
Flexing
I guess,
the muscles, yeah.
And
my son and my sister both ran out and bought some. So,
and best regards to the corporate headquarters of Duke's Mayonnaise.
Duke's Mayonnaise. D-U-K.
Yeah. That's 2 Old Bucks. bucks2old@gmail.com for your comments.
Yeah. Well, speaking of all these products
Mm-hmm.
that we're out ahead on, we were talking the other day. You were hinting around about.
You mean when I'm waving my hand and saying, hey, I'm trying to get your attention. I got something really important to tell you today. And then you roll your eyes back and say, well, what is it? I've been experimenting with generic. I'm not going to call it generic products because I always think of a generic as being maybe a manufacturer of a drug like aspirin where the formula is quite common and easy to produce, and it's that I consider that to be a generic, and blood pressure medicines are sometimes generic. But when you see something that's on the shelf in a grocery store or a pharmacy that's similar to what you were using, and this could be antacids or it could be cold remedies, and it says compared to. So I start reading these things. I start looking at the ingredients. I spend a great deal of time reading all the ingredients in one.
Well, you have a lot of time on your hands.
Right. I mean, and I'm reading these things, and I'm thinking, it's the same thing, a little bit 20 milligrams versus 18 milligrams, and the packaging always says it tastes the same. So all of this stuff is out there. All the grocery stores.
Yep.
You have your main grocery stores, the one with 3,000 branches, and you have one with 1,000 branches. They got their own names on their products.
Publix competing with Kroger.
Yeah, or Safeway, or whatever it is. So I'm thinking, all right, so the packaging looks similar. They claim it's the same. But who's making this stuff? Who actually is making this? If you're a sausage maker and you make sausages, and Publix, let's say, that's a familiar supermarket chain to us, has got this brand, and you're thinking, well, who's making this other brand? And then you see another company, and they got cute names, like there's always Sunshine Farm and Good Taste Sausage and Summertime Delight or something like that. And you never see the manufacturer, only see the distribution point. So
why is that, you think?
I don't know. I'll tell you something interesting, and this is in the same vein. The other day, I happened to have a bottle of water, and I tilted it into the light, and printed on the side of this bottle of water was a sell-by date. I said to my wife, do you know there's a sell-by date on this water? Just plain old water. Mm-hmm. And I looked at that thing, and I had to turn the light just right, and very, very fine, gray printed, was a printed sell-by date of water. So when you buy all this bottled water, technically it has a sell-by date.
Even though it's already billions of years old.
And even though you don't know how long it's been on the shelf. And so I said, holy smokes. I know if you leave water in the sun a long time, if you have it in a contained area, it can get a little gamey.
You don't want to get the expired water.
The expired water
Yeah,
definitely
Who'd
tastes
ever
different.
thought there'd be such a thing?
Expired water. So my question to you, Dave, and your opinion is...
is this to me and all our listeners? Or
the listeners
could be our listeners as well.
I'm sure there's listeners out there that read the ingredients and wonder where all this stuff comes from. But so what do you think? Why do you think they do it that way? Or do you think there's one big sausage manufacturer and all these other cute... game farm, not game farm sausage, but
game farm sausage.
That means something different in Pennsylvania. All these sausages are made someplace else. There's 5,000 sausage, factories around the country. I don't think so.
Probably not. I think there are probably less than that many. And it's convenience. It's taking advantage of the scale.
It's taking advantage of the public, in my view, because I was looking, the one bottle that I chose the other day, it says taste the same. Well, it doesn't taste the same.
The mood turns ugly.
Yeah. It doesn't really taste the same. That's because you're used to one style. Mm-hmm. You're used to the one that was sold to you on television with a lot of money on advertising. And so you get used to that taste. Then you pick another one up and you think, same ingredients, but they must have to do something, I guess, for patent rights or something. But what do we want to challenge the Buck listeners to? I think we want them to read the ingredients, or help us figure out this conundrum.
Well, that'd be a good challenge. I mean, and we could also offer to sell them one of our 2 old Bucks magnifying glasses, which we just happen to have.
Or tell them, for $19.95.
$19.95.
But wait, you can get 2.
2.
This sounds like a case for crisis response and planning. Yeah.
Thank God there's
a thank
God
group
they're
out there. They're out there
groups
going to
out
hear
there
this
doing all this.
because we have a crisis not knowing where this stuff comes from.
Yeah. Well, I think about bicycles, for example. I'm a bicycle nut.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the bicycles in the world are built in, I don't know, 3 or 4 bike shops, 3 or 4 manufacturing facilities.
So there's all those millions of bikes, and they're all coming from sort of 3 locations.
Yeah, like Giant is the biggest one, the biggest company.
And where is it located, perhaps?
It starts with a C.
Starts with a C.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah. Shanghai, Cincinnati. Yeah.
There you go.
So, and they make bikes for all their competitors. But again, they make it to the competitors' specs.
Well, be that as it may, I know that's the case for watch movements. There's only 1 or 2 people that make them all, so it doesn't matter what the design of the watch is. The movement inside is pretty much the same. But the things that we ingest, I told you my story about the vitamin B12. I bought some generic vitamin from Jerry Med. I don't even know who those guys are. I bought some B12. I said, I'm going to see what this thing looks like. So I put it in a bottle of water, and I melted it, and it dissolved, and the water turned pink, which is kind of like B12. That's the color of B12, whether it has a color at all.
Right, I learned something else here.
Oh, did you ever see the sublingual B12? It's
sublingual.
It's like a red. It's like a cherry-looking. Sublingual means you put it under your tongue. You don't take it as a pill.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of subliminal. I guess that's different.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So anyhow, I guess this generic B12. I put it in the water, and there's a residue. There's a white residue that settles to the bottom of the container that I had it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I wonder what that stuff is. So I'm looking at the ingredients, and it's like a magnesium silicate or something. So I Googled it. I discover...
That's dirt, right? Yeah.
Well, it's a substance that they make in these pills that does not dissolve. I said, holy smokes. This stuff never dissolves. It just has to go right through you. So I'm thinking, if it going right through you, is this stuff building up over time? And apparently it's in a lot of pills. You can put all kind of ingredients to hold the pill together. If you ever read the stuff that they put together to hold those things. So anyhow, it was a generic medicine. I don't know if the regular medicine has the same pill consistency or not. Okay, enough of that. That's a bug me. I read them.
All right.
I'm challenging the listeners. BUCKSTWOOLD@gmail.com. If you have a story about what you think of these generic products, who makes them, where they come from, just go ahead. Thanks. Oh, hand signals.
Hand signals, yeah.
Well, this is okay. Anyhow, that's it, listeners, for me on my story. And
that's it.
He rolled his eyes.
That was it. No, you were pounding on the table there.
to make a point.
To make a point.
I was using my shoe.
Every pound spiked my headset here. It's like firecrackers going off in my head. We'll get there. Hey, listen.
Hey.
Since you have established a clear dominance in answering the quizzes that I've given you in the past, I've got another one for you.
Uh-huh.
If you're ready for it. What is a NFT?
NFT, national, I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't ring a bell.
NFT, non-fungible token.
Non-fungible token.
Token. You ever hear of a non-fungible token?
I don't even know what the word fungible means.
Well, fungible means something could be the same as something else. Like if you had a $10 bill, that's the same as
I dare you to use that in a sentence.
That's the same as 2 $5 bills, all right? So you go to the gas station talking about your earlier generic, you buy Exxon gas or you buy Gulf gas or whatever.
Okay.
They're all fungible, okay?
They are fungible.
They're the same. They can all be exchanged for each other.
Great
right?
word.
Right.
Great word. When you give a guy a 10 and you give him 2 5s, you can say, these two are fungible. Which ones do you want?
All right. So we're going to talk about a non-fungible token.
A non-fungible token. Okay.
Okay. A non-fungible token, or NFT, is a unit of data that's stored on a digital ledger called a blockchain. And that certifies that the digital asset is unique and therefore it's not interchangeable with anything else. It's non-fungible, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can use these NFTs to represent things such as photographs, videos, audios, any other type of digital
like those
files.
pictures they're selling online now or something like that. That's like a non-fungible
Exactly,
photo?
exactly. It's basically it's a form of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
which we all know exactly what that's all about, right? Or maybe not.
Who sets a standard for this? That's like the same guy that manufactures the sausage.
The guy
We don't know
that
who
makes
he
the
is.
sausage maker, yeah. That's who makes it, yeah. So, you're going to have to bear with me here.
I'm working with you.
I did a deep dive on this last night to try to understand all this stuff. Okay, so it's like a cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, but it takes the form of a digital item instead of money, instead of currency, all right? So stuff that is already notable things that have been already sold is NFTs, including the Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's first ever tweet on the platform. All right, that was sold as an NFT. At the other end, there's Mike Winkleman's digital artwork, Every Days, the first 5,000 days. It fetched $69 million at a Christie's auction. I think that's maybe the one that you were referring to earlier.
And that's like a digital picture.
It's
You
a
can't even hang it
digital
on your
picture.
wall.
It's a digital picture. What's even more amazing, I mean, you can make a copy of this, all right? It's digital. You can make a digital copy. Everybody can have one. Everybody else can have one for free just by making a copy of
But
that.
you own the $69 million one.
Well, you don't even own it. You own a certificate. You own a certificate that says you got the only one.
There
But you know,
go.
the artist.
I want to be the guy that come up with that idea.
Listen,
You get commission
listen.
off of that sale.
Yeah, but listen, the artist can subsequently delete the digital art. You still got a certificate.
If
that
he's
said,
angry with you, he can delete the art.
yes, he can. Or he can make 10 more copies of it.
Oh my!
But he can delete it. Now all you have now is a certificate that says,
I once had access to this photo.
well,
or
you
something?
still have whatever it is. It's it's out in bid heaven somewhere, but that's what you got for your $69 million. What kicked this off for me was I was reading in a bicycle magazine that Colnago, which is an Italian bicycle maker, they're auctioning off an NFT of a digital picture of their C64 road bike. And the bidding is going to start at 5,000 euros. But there's a backlash brewing. And we'll talk more on this later as we get down this little road here. This digital artwork, NFTs, you don't even own it. You can make use of it.
So Dave, again, I know you're not making this up. I know this because I've seen some of this. So how do you realize any value for it? Again, can you then turn around and sell the certificate or something?
Yes, you can.
So
just like you would sell your Bitcoins, you can sell your meme.
It's almost like a super example of a yard sale where I buy your junk, and then I take it to my yard sale and sell it for $1 more, because everybody's interested in buying little ceramic pictures of elves or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, what the owner of this NFT gets is really nothing more than the ability to claim of ownership to the work. And artists typically retain the copyright to the underlying art. So according to Alex DeVry, creator of Digicnomet form, which examines unintended consequences of digital trends, it boils down to bragging rights. And I mentioned the artist can delete the NFT, so now you only have the certificate. Incredible. Incredible. $56 million. You might have heard of Dogecoin. That's a cryptocurrency.
Nope.
NFT.
I do not know that one. I only know Bitcoin because
you only
that's
know Bitcoin. Okay.
only what the media tells me. It's all I know about that.
Well, Dogecoin started out as a joke, actually, and then they decided, okay, let's make it a real. This will be fun. And then Elon Musk and a couple other celebrities touted it, and away it went. The value of Dogecoin goes up through the roof. And then on May 8th, he was hosting Saturday Night Live, and he did a skit where they interviewed him. They interviewed somebody else, not him. I mean, the person he played. And he ended up in the end calling it a hustle. He said, yeah, because the guy kept saying, well, what is Dogecoin? And he'd come through with all these flowery answers. And he'd say, but what is Dogecoin? And this will be in the liner notes. We'll have a link to this Saturday Night Live skit.
And because he never really can explain it.
No, in the end, he said it's a hustle. So bad idea number one, you're paying for a hustle or bragging rights, maybe nothing more than that. Which lets me move to point number two. NFT creates a massive carbon footprint. Now, you might say...
Well, I understood that. There was a thing on... there's some place up in Iceland or somebody had a 40,000-foot warehouse mining Bitcoin, and they were chowing electricity like crazy.
Exactly. You might think that, there's just this little... digital piece of art here. It's just got a couple gazillion charged electrons in it, so it's practically free. But no, it's exactly what you said. The proof of existence of the certification behind the NFT or the cryptocurrency is called a blockchain, which is a digital ledger, okay, of all the encrypted transactions. Yeah,
I'm smiling.
You're starting to nod off here a little bit.
The lady that's listening to in the evening, she's already zonked out already. She's sleeping.
Yeah, I've got this
another melatonin episode.
I've got this little listener map here, and the lights are starting to blink out. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, you have this ledger called a blockchain. Now, each of these blocks is a chunk of data for a certain time period of transactions that have taken place amongst the owners of the Bitcoins, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So these chunks are created by miners, digital miners, Bitcoin miners. And you might say, well, how are they mining Bitcoins? Well, and I think you got to the answer.
They got their computers doing whatever it is 24/7.
Exactly.
Messing with this transactions.
These so-called miners are doing calculations. Now, they always says they do complex mathematical problems. I'm going to whittle that down to the complex mathematical problem they're trying to do is guess a 16-digit number. All right, it's like playing the lottery, and there's a 16-digit number hanging out there, and the first one to guess it, or the first one to come closest to it in 10 minutes,
gets a Bitcoin?
Gets a part of a Bitcoin, okay? And they've also now maintained, by doing so, they've also maintained the ledger because they've turned these transactions, made it part of the permanent record. All right. So,
and ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't understood this before, I'm sure this is going to all make sense now. But
so, I mean, to get it back to what you said, there's whole warehouses full of computers.
These people have bought into this. They've got the money to throw into this. And they've created their own little cyber world out there.
Right. I mean, the fella, people, whoever it was that created Bitcoin, and we don't know exactly who that was. There's some Satoshi something or other, but that's probably a made-up name.
You know, Dave, I don't want to tell you, but a friend of mine, he's the one that came up with this idea. Matarazz was his name.
Matarazz.
I'm sorry, Matarazz. I didn't mean to insult
words
you.
Out.
Anyhow,
okay. Anyway, so there's only 21 million Bitcoins that will ever be mined. Okay.
Okay.
All right. 18.5 million of those have already been mined.
Discovered, right? Okay.
They've already been discovered. And given that the Bitcoins are generated at a preset rate, for the ones that are left, it gets harder and harder to guess the right number. Okay. They make it harder and harder. So you've got all these, as you say, warehouses of computers all over the world making their guesses as fast as they can.
So, Dave, I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, I'm hearing a humming in the background. The room is awful warm. Do you own a Bitcoin?
I do not own a Bitcoin. I'm just too cheap to turn the air conditioner. I wish I had
600 gigawatt computer in the other room over there mining a Bitcoin. So you don't even own a Bitcoin. But it is a fascinating subject.
It is. Let me give you a couple examples here. And I've got 3 or 4 references that I'm going to put in the liner notes. So I just didn't make all this up.
Okay.
So you can go and if you want more detail. And obviously there's a ton of stuff out there. So backed up by independent researchers, the creation of an average NFT has the stunning environmental footprint of over 200 kilograms of planet-warming carbon, equivalent to driving 500 miles in a typical American gasoline-powered car. Can you imagine that?
I can.
One of these little memes that's created as an NFT probably sucked up 500 miles worth of gasoline or equivalent electricity in running all these computers.
All these computers to mine this Bitcoin.
Yeah, and the reason I go back to the Colnago NFT that they're going to be auctioning off, they've gotten a lot of flack over this, because bicycle is touted as a sustainable sport, blah, blah, blah. Here's a couple other examples. Space Cat, which is a GIF of a cat on a rocket ship.
Mm-hmm.
It has a carbon footprint equal to an EU, that's European residents' electricity usage for 2 months.
Just to produce that.
To produce that one little cartoony thing. It's been estimated that crypto mining consumes the same amount of power as Argentina. Consumes more power than Ireland.
And Dell's mind goes.
It's consuming massive natural resources, which brings me to bad idea number 2. Not bad idea number 1 is it's all a hoax, a hustle. Cryptocurrencies and NFTs wreak havoc on the environment on a massive scale. And I'm not even going to talk about bad idea number 3.
Okay.
And that is that cryptocurrency transactions are transparent to all, but the identities of the transactors are kept secret. So this attracts transactions like illegal drugs, guns, any unlawful drugs and goods and services. So do we really want to make it easier?
It's like a perfect storm, isn't it?
Yeah, we really
ruin the environment.
Yeah.
Come up with some kind of a secret way to pay one another. That I guess in a way, I guess if you agree to accept a dollar bill, which is just a piece of paper, in exchange for a good or service, you have a belief that it works. So.
Well, the difference is that dollar is backed up by the faith of the United States government. All right, and Bitcoin is backed up by people keeping their fingers crossed. It's like a pyramid scheme.
Better them than me. I mean, I'm still waiting to get my electric car.
So we could, we could go on and talk about it. But
I'm giving you the signal.
You are giving me the hangman signal. All right. So
good people. You have any thoughts on Bitcoin? If you even understand it remotely better than you did, or if you own one, that'd be cool. If you actually mined one or something, don't hesitate to fire a email to BUCKSTWOOLD@gmail.com and tell us your story, and we will be as amused as our listeners.
Okay, well, that's enough for today.
That's enough Bitcoin. That's enough
Appreciate
thoughts.
our one listener who's still out there.
Hey, this is Old Buck Dell.
And this is Old Buck Dave.
Saying Salane Gatle.
Salane Gatle. Wow, I like it. That translates to goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Stay well.
Goodbye, everybody.